Hi everybody, just wanted to give you a quick tour. This feels a bit weird because it's very quiet on my street at the moment. But my open house is pretty much finished now. And I wanted to kind of take you through, show you what I've got for people who couldn't make it. Thank you so much to everybody who could make it. It was lovely to see so many people in. And here we go into the hallway. Oh, the fire seems to have died to death. Anyway, but that was lit, which was really nice having that lit. Close the door. And then just take you for a bit of a walk around my inky landscapes. So all the work in here is actually on paper, and it's all ink on paper, and very kind of watered down ink. And just different kind of techniques. This is actually, I kind of scrunched the paper up before I stretched it, which has given some really nice kind of textures and details there. This is my kind of, my biggie, which I actually really love. So these kind of sepia tones that have come out from the ink, if you can see. You've got the kind of blurred lines where you put wet ink onto wet paper, and then those more definite lines where you've got the ink going onto dry paper. So that's worked really nicely. And then these 5. These are 25, no, they're 20 by 20, I think. And different kind of techniques. I'm liking these. Can you see the gold? Got the gold dots on there, which works really nicely to kind of give almost a bit of depth. Kind of implies something in the far distance. It's a bit more of an abstract one. I love the kind of fluidity of that one. And those ones, again, the kind of where the ink's bled is really beautiful there. And the separation out into the kind of blues and of the ink has worked really nicely. I'll go to the other side to see the Christmas tree. My husband's gone all out on the Christmas decorations for this. A massive Christmas tree. Can't actually get to show you this one properly. But the thing I like about this one actually is the white space is actually as important as where the ink's laid. And it was one of those lucky ones where I stopped at kind of quite early on in the painting when there was only kind of 3 or 4 layers down, but I'm quite pleased I did. And we've got, see, that looks really brassy. It's a gold leaf, so it's actually not quite so yellow as that. It's just in this light, it's showing up really yellow. Another big one, and then these little ones. So this one again with more of the dots of gold leaf that really, because they're so tiny, they actually really do kind of give you a real sense of a depth or a distance in those. My little can. I like my little can. Again, this is all about how the ink bleeds and how you can see the kind of the way those edges work beautifully. Another couple of little landscapes. This one I've called the Castle on the Hill because purely accidentally, the way that top line's done, it just looks like the kind of silhouette of some very distant architectural structure or something. I love the idea of it feeling like it's a building in the kind of far distance. A bit more of an abstract one there. They've all worked really well against this this blue background that I've got here. More Christmas decorations going up the stairs. And then these ones here, so one of these sold and got taken away. These ones are the carbon paper kind of study of negative space really, so looking at using carbon paper and ink to draw with, which was worked nicely. And then this one is a slightly bigger one. Zoom out a bit more. Which is all the layers of ink and this kind of idea of dappled light falling on a surface, which has been quite nice. And then slightly darker version there. Again, how the ink dries is just beautiful. And we've got these 4. And I'm really loving, so when you wet paper and it kind of wrinkles, the ink pools in those bits, but then as it dries, the paper flattens out again. But it obviously leaves bits where the ink has sat in the paper, which go darker, but actually the paper is perfectly smooth and flat. You just get left with that kind of mark of it being having been on paper that was wrinkled when it was wet. And that tree, kind of light through trees there. This one's been a bit of a talking point this weekend. It's quite interesting what people see in this. Whether it's kind of air bubbles or hagstones or the bacteria, I think was one of the comments. It looks like something on a petri dish. Quite interesting. And then 2 more of my stacks of stones. Wasn't quite sure whether to hang these horizontally or vertically. I do quite like them as little towers. I think they work quite nicely like that. I won't take you into the toilet, but that's the toilet there. And then we have this little collection. So these more of the ones with the drawn line from carbon paper over an ink drawing, so over an ink wash, and then just building up layers to kind of pull out the negative space, and then these kind of washes of ink brush marks down the paper. I found quite interesting in that kind of method of abstracting. And these are 4 new ones that I'm not even sure if they're finished yet, but I put them in frames because I really liked where they were going. So this is kind of this top one is actually using almost like a shadow of something, and then with light falling on that. So those lines created with a kind of base layer of ink, and then doing the light effect on the top. This one I think maybe does need another layer or so on it, I think. But this one I'm loving because it does feel like almost there's a shadow falling across the paper, but it's actually on the paper with that kind of light coming across it as well. And then another one there. That probably captures what I'm trying to do the best, actually, that way of when you see light falling through trees and the kind of bouncing circular light that you get on a pavement or on a building. I'm sure it's quite nicely. And then this one is actually, sorry, let me, there's the door. This one is actually, and I've actually called it Where It All Started, because this was the first one I did with a decent size that was on the stretch paper. So when I say stretch paper, I've stretched it around these cradle panels. So I get this lovely smooth surface. And this was the first kind of one that I was like, ooh, that's kind of working for me. So that one's called Where It All Started. But yeah, so I've had my open house. It's been really lovely, kind of inviting people in and getting a chance to talk to people about new work has been really valuable. People have admired the Christmas tree. Sometimes more than the paintings, but you know, hey well. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to leave these up for a while. So if anybody is in the area and wants to kind of come and have a look, then I'm more than happy to do a bit of a studio tour, house tour kind of thing of this work. And I'll also start putting the paintings that are left that aren't sold, I'll put up on my website so people can have a look there as well. But yeah, thank you so much again to everybody who came, and look forward to doing it again next year. Cheers everybody, have a good week.